Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Big Brother Wee, and I can tell you right now that I have come across a very beautiful video called Journey. It's for the PlayStation Network, and it's one of those unique artistic games that we've actually been seeing for the past generation or so. Now, for many of you who are not very familiar with what I'm talking about, artsy games in general usually comprise of aesthetically pleasing environments with a pretty simplistic gameplay but a very complex story in some cases or what have you. Or maybe I've gotten that wrong. But anyway, it has a lot of artistic value into it. In other words, when you play the game, it's like playing art. Such prominent examples would basically be Eco, Shadow of Colossus, Pikmin, for instance. Some of these other games that are relatively strange or weird or unique or different. Even Cosmetic Damacy could actually fall into that category. But needless to say, though, I've actually read one of the comments in the video showing a preview of the game of this new title that's coming out by some new company, and he actually made a point saying that he actually made a statement talking about that there are too many artsy games. Now, of course, you may have remembered my old video that I've done regarding first-person shooters, and I wanted to know if there were a great number of these things. Now, of course, normally I would actually ask you whether or not if there's too many artsy games, or there are too many, or whatever genre that we're talking about. But let's be clear on one thing: every single new generation, there's going to be an increased number of games of a specific genre, no matter what. It's just that certain games, like Eco, had to drive this particular type of game style into the spotlight. I'm looking forward to The Last Guardian myself. But anyway, though, what I'm really baffled about is how exactly are people talking about there are too many artsy style games and not enough real games. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's been a plethora of shooter games this generation and the past generation as well. And it's very strange how people would actually use that as an argument, when in fact they pretty much ignored that for the past two consoles, we've actually been seeing a lot more shooter games and action-oriented games, and even a slight jump in the platformer series, in the platformer genre, and even RPGs. That's really coming out in the force. But the point I'm really trying to make is that there's going to be a greater number of games of all different types. There has to be a spark that ignites this particular boom, and it's going to continue that way. It's not that there's too many of these games. If that is the case, then there's too many first-person shooters, too many RPGs, too many action games, too many platformers, too many puzzle games, etc., 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 etc. And let us not forget, they're all video games, and there's always a game for everybody to enjoy. And for those people who constantly think that there's too many of these games, do yourself a favor and just ignore them. Don't buy them. If you're going to complain about it, then you might as well just ponder about why do you even bother picking up a controller in the first place and play the exact same game over and over again. Just go outside with different visuals. Anyway, that is my rant. But before I go, I'd like to ask you guys this question. Do you think there are too many artistic games? And if so, why? And the second question is, do you feel that there should be more games like these? And third, just for fun, what is your favorite artsy style game? This is Big Brother Lee telling you guys, I'm watching you. Get your Wii on, baby.